Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Special Edition. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these live shows while they are live, and there is a link in the info box once the video has rendered. Now we are joined by Anthony and Ranty, who have got some interesting news regarding the Isle of Man. So, first of all, if you can say a quick hello. How are you doing, Anthony?
Hola.
Hola.
I've lost my screen. Where's it gone? Bear with me. Shout Ranty. I'll come back to you when I got my screen.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing? Right, good
not
to
too bad.
have you both here. Well, start off by telling us, or telling the audience, Ranty, what exactly are we doing here? Why are we here?
Well, I was looking back on some of the observations that I've done recently, and I say recently within the last year, because quite often we don't have a chance to put a lot of videos up about stuff. So I was looking at the Hoy Lake images going over to Llandudno, and I was trying to match up the observation that I did regarding the landmass there and a building called the Lighthouse. And it was essentially from that we found some really great flat earth proofs. If you want to present my screen, I'll show you what I mean.
Yeah, you were presented from the start. You presented
okay.
The nose cone of the Isle of Man.
Yeah, so here we are with this is the video that I actually took, which it's titled Liverpool to Wales, but it's basically Hoy Lake to Llandudno. And this part of the nose at the end here, this is the lighthouse building that's in question. If I show you how it matches up, this is on Google Earth. Comes in here, there's the building. I've actually put it on because it doesn't show the actual building on Google Earth, and it rolls off and down into the sea. And I was trying to see what sort of elevation I would get to, and it's around about 120 feet or so above sea level, so it's a great flat earth proof in itself. But then I decided to show you on the maps. I came in and I decided to click the lighthouse, which is here, and I went to the images. And what had happened is I scrolled down to the very last image at the bottom, and something caught my eye in the distance. And originally Anthony wasn't too impressed with what I'd found, because to him it didn't appear to be much other than just some haziness on the horizon. But to my eye, it looked like the Isle of Man. And to Nathan's eye, he agreed. And without us knowing, Anthony typed in, "Can the Isle of Man be seen from Llandudno?" The top thing that came up was this image. And look how nice this image is. Absolutely fantastic. Some guy that was stood near the lighthouse, not far from the lighthouse actually, at the top of the hill, captured all this Isle of Man image here. I'll show you where we actually took the image from. Let's get off of that and scroll out. And it was these. Do you remember what the building was called, Nathan?
It was the Great Orme next to the something cafe, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll just put the little man in if I can get my little man
on. On that website, it actually said, or whoever took the photograph detailed.
Yeah, rest and be thankful.
Rest and be thankful.
I'm assuming somewhere in this car park, he looked over towards the Isle of Man, and he captured this beautiful image there. It says here, "Fantastic visibility today. Look closely at the horizon and you'll see the Isle of Man, mountains in the far distance, stretching from left to right. This picture was taken from the Great Orme by the Rest and Be Thankful Cafe." So, after getting Anthony to do a bit of work for a change, he did the peak finder, and we put the peak finder in here, and we was able to identify all the mountains in the background. And what we found was that on the next image up, this was the actual curvature calcs. So when we scroll in here, this red line is everything below that we're seeing should be hidden by the curvature of the Earth. Everything above it we should have seen. So essentially all we should have seen was the top of this mountain here, top of that, the top of this, etc., etc. But what we're actually seeing is around about 1,300 feet extra. Sorry, my mistake. Around about 800 feet extra. There's about 500 feet that we can't account for at the moment. But then again, we are getting a little band of refraction at the bottom here, and we have no idea what kind of camera he used. But essentially, none of this should be seen anyway. Especially like this nose cone part here.
We need to do the curve calcs and show them.
Yeah, so when I go to the curvature calcs, which I've already got it up here, the distance in miles essentially was 68 miles. We do have further. There are some at like 71 miles and some at like 67, but I've just put 68 in for reference. I'll prove that with the distance. So I was saying that he's going to take the image from the side of the...
Next time you get to the peak finder bit, the comparison, just leave it on screen a bit longer because people are asking to see it.
Oh, right, sure, yeah. So we've got all the peaks in the background over here, stretching out. Can you see if I move this into the middle, you'll see how it increases in height. 69 miles, 68 miles. 67, 66, 65. So essentially that's the distances. So when we put 68 miles in, the viewer height, which was 406 feet, again, if we go back to Google Earth and we hover over the location, it should give us an elevation. And when we hover over on the car park area here, we're looking at 403, 404, 405 feet. So I'll just put 406 in for argument's sake. I know that's correct because we've done the Ordnance Survey thing that we've learnt how to satisfy the ballers on this argument. If I hover my cursor here, it says 514 feet, which is roughly 150 meters. I'm hoping I've still got the Ordnance Survey up. And no, I don't. But it doesn't matter. That's what the Ordnance Survey came up with. So essentially 406 feet in elevation. Refracted hidden should be almost 1,000 feet. Without any refraction, 1,251. And the drop, essentially the drop, if we look straight out at the horizon, the physical drop on a ball Earth should be 3,083 feet. So none of the island should be seen. And I'll show you the hills again. Is there anything you want to add, Anthony?
Yeah, you're gonna have to show how we identified the drop between Snaefell and the mountain to the right of it, Clywar. Because what we needed to do was find out. We'd done the curve calcs at 1,400 feet. For this refracted hidden nonsense. So even by the ball Earth's refracted hidden nonsense, we needed to find out what the elevation was with the valley between the two mountains, Snaefell and the other one that I can't pronounce. So all we did was got into this view that Ranty's trying to get into, making a bit of a pig's ear of it.
Give him a couple of minutes to get over the curve of the Earth.
Yeah. All that curvature. Now you'll have to find Snaefell.
Yeah.
And then drop your line of sight onto it. A bit deeper in, there to the left.
Essentially, well, this is the line of sight, isn't it?
Yeah, but just put it on Snaefell. Put it on the peak of Snaefell.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to scroll into the line of sight now. It's easier for me to do it. You had a better way of doing it, but there we go. So there's Snaefell to the left. There's what's that one called to the right? Clag Uria. So there's Snaefell, there's Clag, and there's the dip between the two.
So we'd established what that dip was, and all we did was zoomed in to see what the elevation of the dip was.
Yep.
Which coincided by chance to be this refracted hidden nonsense.
Well, not without the refracted hidden, I believe.
No, it was with the refracted hidden, I believe.
Oh, 1274. 1274, and if we go to the metabunk, that would be just the hidden 1251. So essentially, I just put the line in just a fraction above that, which you can see here, just a fraction above it. So that's how we got the curvature calcs.
So what we should see is everything above that line, according to
Yep.
the curvature of the Earth. Everything below that is invisible and would have to be argued is being refracted up from behind a hill. It's on the other side of that hill. All of that stuff is being blocked by the bulge. Shouldn't see any of it.
So, just to answer Imric, because he's a bit slow, Snaefell, the peak at Snaefell is 68 miles away. It's supposed to be a certain amount dropped behind the curve of the Earth. Using a normal bloke's photo, nothing special, no P900, just a random bloke. That's how much land he caught from Llandudno. We can see that Snaefell is clearly evident in the picture. We can see that Clay Uy is next to it. We can see the valley in between. Just so happens to line up roughly with the expected curvature of the Earth. That should be sat on the horizon. It isn't sat on the horizon. It's just like all that stuff that we were talking about with the Isle of Man from St. Bees. We can see, like, let me think, Balacanel wasn't sat on the horizon. Baldrine wasn't sat on the horizon. But all those farms that Rumpus has identified weren't sat on the horizon. All that missing curvature wasn't evident in the picture. And all we were trying to do was see whether there was any other supporting evidence of the Isle of Man from anywhere else around the coast. And we saw this picture, done the maths on it. Snaefell should be a certain amount behind the curve of the Earth. 70 miles away. It's quite a lot of it. As can be seen by the picture, there's not.
This is the second picture we looked at. So Ranty went out of the quick goosey and showed us a picture. And me and Ranty went, yeah, it looks like the Isle of Man. You know, fairly indifferent. And Anthony was like, no, I don't think so. And then second picture we come up with is this. So it seems like it's fairly common to capture the flat Earth. It's pretty easy, in fact, to capture flat Earth imagery of the Isle of Man from just this exercise. We've been doing this about an hour. It's not a very long time.
It's amazing what people don't think they can see and they don't understand what they're actually seeing. I mean, this guy uploaded it. He was quite chuffed, obviously, with capturing the Isle of Man, but it didn't obviously occur to him that he shouldn't see any of it. All this lower stuff shouldn't be visible to him.
And anybody can repeat this. Just type in, can you see Isle of Man from Llandudno? Up comes the picture, first result. Look at the picture, do the maths on it, and see whether it matches or does it. Oh, let's do what Miles does.
Well, here we go.
That's
24th of November, 2010. So this was 7 years ago, filmed on a potato, clearly, because 7 years ago, the technology from then to what it is today is substantially lower than what we would expect to bring out now. So 7 years ago, this image was taken, and I'm going to say it was taken on a potato. So imagine what we could get on a day when there isn't any of this refraction going on at the edges.
Yeah, there's a little bit of refraction like that curvature stuff.
Doubling back on itself, like on Sounders images.
So, Ranty, what was the elevation that this picture was taken from again?
406 feet.
406 feet, according to the Ordnance Survey flat map reference point.
Yeah. Google Earth is consistent with the Ordnance Survey for that Orm Hill, whatever it is, Orm Head.
To be honest, we should do the curvature, the Isle of Man Ordnance Survey map for that point between the two. I have no idea how to find that on the Ordnance Survey map because it was.
Well, to be honest, I'm more content to just round this out here and keep it short and sweet. I mean, this is just
Absolutely.
Casual observation caught online after a very, very cursory search for just that. Admittedly, we knew what we were looking for, but that's a cursory search. After an hour, a couple of lines drawn on a piece of paper, some rough estimates in terms of the scaling, and Bob's your uncle, another flat Earth proof. It's just incredible. But there we go. You guys have to round out with that. If there's anything really pertinent that you want to add, then fine. But I would rather keep it short and sweet if I can.
I'm going to dedicate this one to Miles Davis, and let's see what lies he comes up with to explain where the curvature is. 1,400 feet, Miles. Come on.
Anything to add, Ranty? Anything you want to add?
Not really. No, I think I've done everything I needed to do.
Miles, lies.
Yeah. So with that, I will say, first and foremost, a huge thank you to all of the audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate with a bit of luck. If you haven't done so, be sure to share the re-up on my main channel, Nathan Oakley 1980. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.